Hey.
Hey, I'm sitting here going, I'm here.
That
But I
was my
wasn't there.
fault. Hey, how you doing?
I'm doing good. How are you doing?
Yeah, good. I've got a coffee now too. Nice hot coffee.
Yeah, well, I've just had one made for me too.
Oh,
We're calling it the Kitchen Cafe.
you've got one of those too. I call
Absolutely.
mine Rick's Cafe.
Oh, Rick, oh,
Yeah,
yours is a bit more trendy than mine.
my kitchen cafe stuff pretty good. Ah, cool. So you've got some cool stuff for us today, Malcolm. We
Oh, I hope so.
topic for at the moment, and there's some quite a bit of stuff around this. I know myself personally, I'm not always too au fait with all the, those technical, especially accounting sort of sides of things, and something like a cash flow, document or understanding how to make it work in your business is something that a lot of us know we should have one, but probably don't understand all the ins and outs of it.
Welcome to the club. Yeah, look, it's something that every business really needs to have, but a lot of businesses don't have, and I don't necessarily think it's about them not doing it. It's more about not really understanding what they need, what use it is. That's probably the big thing. Is, well, why do I actually need to have a cash flow forecast? I've got cash coming in. Well, not at the moment, but in normal business, I've got cash coming in, and or what's this about a forecast?
Yeah.
What do I need that for? So
how does it work and all that? And for those of you who don't know Ashley Malcolm, he's from Salon Business Coach, and Malcolm has dedicated many years already to slaving away for us at NZARH. As you know, we're all volunteers, and Malcolm is someone who we have on as a liaison, so he can do a whole lot of work for us, and he doesn't charge us.
And don't get paid. Yeah. Do it for love. Do it for love of the industry.
You have a very successful and great business, Malcolm. If I had my own salon, not that I ever want one, but if I had my own salon, I would want to live with a coach like you who does a lot and is very active with helping salons, and it's really about growing the salons, isn't it? And
yeah, there's a couple of areas. There's salons that are in what I call chaos, and it's helping them go from chaos to control. And then there are those salons that maybe aren't so much in chaos, but they're at a bit of a plateau where they know that they could do more, but just not sure what that next or what that more is. And so it's helping them, define a plan and take it to the next level. So yeah, it's lots of fun, lots of diversification, and I just want to actually talk. I've just noticed myself in the mirror, if you like, looking at the camera. I'm thinking, God, I look like the wild man from Borneo. And I have been asked a couple of times over this this lockdown, well, you live with a hairdresser. I mean, why can't she cut your hair? And I'm like, well, there's a couple of reasons, but the main reason is that I feel an affinity to what people are going through by actually going through it with them. So I kind of feel, as one, if you like, or united with everyone out there that isn't living with a hairdresser or isn't a hairdresser. And the other thing is that even though I've got a distinct lack of hair, she takes too long to cut it. And so I think I've got other things to do, so I'll just wait till I go back to my usual guy.
So you're saving. What's the word? You're waiting for your hairdresser. I think it's the new hashtag.
I'm waiting for my hairdresser. Absolutely. I missed that. Sorry.
Or for your barber.
For my barber. Yeah. I'm coming, great. Mark, and I'll be coming soon, as soon as I'm allowed.
That's a really good point, Malcolm, and supporting the local business and people we like to see, and we get back out there and
feel human again.
Feel human again. Love it.
Cool. So, cash flow forecast.
Yeah, the why and the how. Shall we start with
the why, the how, and the what the hell?
And the what the hell. That's a good place to start.
Yeah,
what the hell?
What the hell? Why do I need one of these things? Well, essentially, probably the first thing really is more about who's it for. Well, Cashflow Forecast is for anybody that has a business or even an individual. A budget. It's the prediction of the future that based on your current knowledge, and so. Really, it's for anyone that wants to take a more active interest in where they're at and where they could be financially in their business or in their personal life.
So even for your home budget, or for someone like myself who's a contractor, I should be using one.
Yeah, because if you think about a business, there's two things with money that happens in a business. Money comes in, and then money goes out. And so a cash flow forecast essentially is predicting for the next period, and I look out 12 months. So for the next 12 months, how much money do we expect to have coming in on a, say, monthly basis? And then based on that, how much money am I expecting to go out? And is there anything left? What's the profit in that? And it also, probably the bigger part of that is that it actually helps us see how much money we're wasting in the business. Because quite often, I'll talk to my clients, and anyone that really cares to listen, I'll ask them questions around, well, do you know what your expenses are? Well, kind of. What do you mean kind of? Well, how much is it costing you for tea and coffee? Well, I don't know. It's in my expenses, and that goes under general. So it actually can help you really break down those costs and work out that actually there's a lot of wasted cost. I think we're all realizing, as salon owners, that there are expenses that we're paying for that potentially after the COVID-19 lockdown ends, we probably won't have those expenses. Like I've heard the people talk about magazines. Well, we're not going to have magazines. Right. Well, really, will you ever go back to having magazines in the salon? And that can be quite a big expense for a salon. And given that the biggest magazine company in New Zealand has folded, there's going to be very little local magazine articles and what have you. So, is that something that we can save on expenses? Is there another way of doing that that's a better way of doing it, and potentially, I wouldn't say cheaper, but more cost-effective way of doing it?
Having the big picture and the outline there, and I guess that relates really quite pertinently to at the moment, where everything's sort of up in the air a little bit. So I guess something like having an understanding of your cash flow would help. Well, absolutely. At the moment, and transitioning back into when we came out of lockdown.
Well, we all know at the moment, for any business that is not operating, that doesn't have money coming in automatically from another source, there is no income. The only income that let's just say the majority of salon owners, the only income they've had in the last 4 weeks has been the wage subsidy. There are some people that may have gone out and got a loan from the banks, because the government have made it quite easy to get money now. If I think it's between 250,000 plus revenue, you can get a loan from the government, and the government will guarantee 80% of it, and the banks are guaranteeing 20% of it. And the interest rates at the moment, it's almost like the banks are paying you to take money off them. Wow. So, so you could say, right, well, what am I, with a cash flow statement or a forecast, you can look at it and you can say, right, the next 12 months, if I stay open, which I hope most people are going to be staying open when we go back to work, that they're not going to end up closing down and, folding their business. But for those that are going to go on as a going concern, let's look at what the expenses might be for the next 12 months. Realistically, what's it going to cost me? Rates, rent, wages, all the things that it costs us to run a business. How much is that going to be for the next 12 months? So then I can say, well, at the moment, when do I hope to get income? And when I do, how much is that income going to look like for the next 12 months? So let's say that it's another 3 weeks before we're back at work. Are you going to get slammed? Everyone's predicting that hairdressers are going to get slammed, but you're still not going to get slammed like you do at Christmas, because you've still got to you'll still have to keep your 2 metre distance, and you have to vary your staff shifts, and
it'll look a bit different.
it'll look different. So the income you will start getting income, but will it be as much as, say, Christmas week? It potentially won't be, because it's going to be spread out over a longer period of time, because you can't have 3 clients sitting there with 3 colours on while you're doing a haircut, so split shifts and all of that sort of thing. So putting a cash flow forecast together, you can say, right, realistically, if my expenses are going to be $100,000 for the next 12 months, I need to make at least $100,000 to be viable. But I want to make a profit. So how does making $30,000 so that I've got a $30,000 profit, how does that look? And breaking it down over the next 12 months, what do I need to do to create that? And so you can then start using that cash flow forecast as a predictor and as a planner, as a goal setter, as a target, not solely, but as a help towards setting your targets. I was talking to someone a wee while ago about it, and she asked me, when should I take on another staff member? I'm feeling it should be soon, because that's a really good question.
Indeed, new apprentice or
new apprentice, or anyone, someone to a receptionist. So with a cash flow forecast, if you've done it well, you can then just say, okay, well, let's put that scenario into the cash flow forecast. So what would a new stylist cost you? Let's say it's $1,000 a week. I'm a round figure guy, until we know the numbers, round figures are fine. So $1,000 a week goes in, and when do you think you'd take them on? Well, let's say realistically July. So you straight away, you can put in that extra staff member's expense from July forward until the end of the year. You can say, okay, well, that's potentially what that's going to cost me. Now, what do I expect that new staff member to produce? Well, then you can put their income in, and then you can look at the bottom line, and you can see on the cash flow forecast that taking on a new person in July will actually make me a profit, so that I will be better off at the end of 12 months with that new staff member than if I don't take them on. So we ran that scenario very briefly with my client, and I think her comment was, gee, by the look of that, I could probably afford to take on 2.
Wow.
So straight away, from the first question of should I, 5 minutes later, it's like, wow, I could probably just about take on 2 people over the next few weeks. So, because that's one of the questions I get asked a lot, is how do I know when's the right time to take on a staff member? Well, if you've got a cash flow forecast, you can go, well, let's just look at you run the scenario and see when is the best time for you to take. Because at the bottom line of a cash flow forecast, you see the profit and loss. You see whether or not you're running at a loss or running at a profit. Anyway,
as an accountant would say, you can't lie with the numbers.
Exactly.
They are what they are.
That's a really
great example, Malcolm. And because you're a coach as well, and especially specifically for the hair industry, with what you do, you actually work a bit more. We're talking about this in terms of benefiting the industry, and NZARH is all part of bringing just everyone together on a even playing field. But you specifically offer coaching with working on all the different things that you do, but also on a cash flow setup. So if I had a salon and I'm like, I've got this piece of paper, but I don't know what to do with it, I could work with you on
absolutely. Sorry,
how would that process work? Well,
with my clients, there are points in time where you introduce things, and so it's a natural progression that we go through and do cash flow forecasts. But I also understand there are people out there that maybe don't need the full shebang of everything I do. And so with the cash flow forecast, it's one of the things that I've put together a little, I guess you'd call it a program or a tutorial thing, where if you wanted to create and build a cash flow forecast for your business, I've put together this little program that over 4 sessions, I'll talk you through it, I'll help you through it, we'll give you the ideas of what you need to do, the numbers that you need to go and find, and just basically help you through putting it together and getting a really thorough understanding of what it's for and what you could use it for. into the future. So call it sort of a mini tutorial on, getting a damn good cash flow forecast organised and sorted for your salon. So, I've got a little program for that.
We've got people commenting with "yes, please" already.
Okay, great.
I think that that relates to, especially a lot of us. We know there's things out there that would help us with our business, but it's understanding how they work and relate to us and how we do things. And that sounds really great, Malcolm. So how would people get in touch with you for getting set up for either just the cash flow or having coaching in general?
They wanted to have a chat in general? Yeah. Okay, well, the cash flow program, I find it sort of hard or difficult calling it a program because it's more of a little mini course, really. It's 4 sessions. The first 3 sessions are over a period of 3 or 4 weeks. It's sort of self-paced, so we work at the pace that you've got. I guess currently, we're not all cutting hair and doing treatments and what have you. So there's probably time to do it fairly quickly. The last session is really a Q&A, but I just want to make a point that with the cash flow forecast, it is fairly straightforward once you understand what you're doing. So the value probably in the course is more about the conversations that I have with you around what you could do to achieve the cash flow that you were predicting. And most people there's two schools of people. One will make it the goal. They'll go, oh yeah, I could easily do $300,000 in a week. There are a few people that are overestimating, that they do overestimate what they can do. But the majority of us actually underestimate what we can do. And so I guess also that part of the course is about understanding that, well, maybe you're being a little bit conservative with your guesstimates of what you could do, because what people do when they're building a cash flow in the future, they think about what they're doing now. And so they go, well, based on what I'm doing now, what I could do in the future, and it's generally only a little bit more than what they're doing now, but they don't think about what the changes they can make in the time that it takes to get to the future that can actually make a big difference to the future income level. So it's about understanding all of that and helping people through that. But I think you asked the question of how can they get a hold of me. I can answer that now. I have my website, which is salonbusinesscoach.com, and as far as the cash flow forecast little mini course, if you go to the blog, there is a blog post on it, and there are buttons within the blog that I've written about it that you can just buy the course online. And yeah, that's fairly straightforward. And then I'll get in touch with you and we'll arrange a time to get underway and get it all sorted.
That sounds great, Malcolm. We'll be sharing that across the NZARH channels after this as well. I think that's quite pertinent to have that, coaching program, because it's all very well, even if you hear of something, once and you understand it, then going back to it later or finding where you've put whatever it is and being like, oh, what was it about that again? So I think that's really good to have someone to coach you through, and also industry specific. No, great, Malcolm.
Can I just jump in and say also that I don't know how many people are interested in it, and it's great if you are. I'd love to help you, but I only have also limited time, so I'm not going to put a cap on how many people want to do the cash flow forecast course. But what I will do is I'll limit it to a certain number at a time. So I think probably at the moment I could probably do about 10 people initially we could take on and get them underway. Awesome. Yeah, so I guess if you want to do it soon, get in soon. But don't stop asking for it. I'll just let you know of when an estimated time that we can get underway, because the last thing I probably need is quite a few people sort of all going me now, and I'm going to have to go, okay, well, 11 o'clock tonight I can have a chat with you about that, which won't be good.
You're conscious of giving your clients the time that they deserve.
Absolutely.
Love it. Awesome. Hey, look, that's really great. So the website again is salonbusinesscoach.com.
Sure. Yep. And then just jump into the blog, and the first blog post or the latest blog post is a description of the course and where you can buy it.
Yeah,
But I don't want this to be
great.
about selling my course. This is more about if you can just understand your cash. At the moment, as I say, there's very few of us that have got money coming in, but there's still money going out. And one thing that I really want to emphasise is, and it's something that I've worked with my clients on over a period of time, is helping them to understand that you need a contingency. You need to have a contingency plan, and I don't mean a plan as what do we do if there's an earthquake, as has happened in the South Island, or what do we do if there's COVID, but what do we do if we have business interruption? We can have insurance and we can have all of that stuff, but how well is that working for us at the moment? The insurance companies are running backwards, and no, this is a pandemic. We don't insure that. So my suggestion's always been for salons and for any business, or anybody, that's got an income, is we live and operate to the level of the income that we have or the revenue that's coming in. So what I mean by that is we spend up to the level of what we can afford. So if we took, say for example, Pip, if I said to you, could you take $50 out of your income when you've got income from your hairdressing? If you took $50 out a week and put it somewhere that you couldn't touch, would you miss it?
Probably not.
Right. So why don't you do that for 3 months and put $50 aside? And
you're setting me a challenge.
I'm setting you and everyone listening to this a challenge.
Oh, all right.
When you're back in business, when you're able to receive revenue, set a contingency account up. Have $50 a month for 3 months aside, or what you think you can afford. Maybe it's $20, maybe it's $100. Put it aside. After 3 months, increase it to, in your case, put $50, increase it to $100, and put that in the same account. After 3 more months, increase that to $150. And put that aside, and you will find over that 9 to 12 month period where, say, you went from $50 to $100 to $150 to $200, in 12 months' time, you will be living within the means of your revenue and be saving $200 a week.
Wow!
And so that $200 a week, and you can keep going until such time as you go, well, shit, I can't really take much more out because I can't buy bread or milk, So you do it within reason. But that money, you then you get to that point where you just keep putting that $200 or whatever your figure is into that separate account for times that may happen like this. So imagine you've been doing that for the last 5 years. You may have had $10,000, $15,000, $20,000 sitting in a bank account that you actually don't miss, that you haven't missed because you haven't spent it.
Yeah, that is such a good takeaway.
That's my tip. Yeah.
Absolutely, because I've always, put a little bit aside for savings, but then you always take a little bit back, and then, and you only.
No, you're not allowed to touch it.
But and increasing it, and for your business specifically, and I think, like you said, starting with an amount that you probably don't miss, and starting with that. Yeah. Love it.
Just think about it. If you never have to use it, and you're in business for 10 years, and you're putting $200 a week aside. Let me just give you the numbers on that.
You're doing maths on your computer?
No. I'm doing maths on that. Can you see that figure? Is it reading backwards for you?
That's $104,000.
$104,000 that you wouldn't miss over 10 years.
Over 10 years. Fancy having that now at the moment.
Well, imagine if you didn't need to use it. Okay, we probably would need to use some of it now, but wouldn't it be great to have some to use, like in a situation like this? And they're saying this is once in a lifetime event. So, God forbid that we don't have anything like this for the rest of our lives. Anyway, I get all excited about that stuff, but that's $104,000 that you could have in 10 years. That you won't miss. Anyway,
won't going out. And then I guess the cash flow part is also understanding, well, if you're not going to miss something like $50 to start with, where is it going? Because, if you don't have, so much left over at the end of each week, what is it being spent on that, maybe you don't need?
That is wasted, yeah. So in the cash flow format, in the cash flow forecast template, there is a contingency line. So you put that money in so you can see what effect it actually has on your total income and your total revenue, and also it works out GST and your tax and all that stuff. So it gives you a bloody good understanding of your financial position what you expect it to be for the next 12 months.
Great. So really, really important for right now, transitioning back into when we can get back on the floor, and for our businesses in general, whatever level you're at, if you're a salon owner, just a stylist, contracting, rent a chair, just running the business, whatever, hey. Cool. Hey, well, thanks, Malcolm.
Sorry.
Tips.
You're welcome. Sorry, I thought you were just carrying on there. Then you stopped, and I thought, oh, okay.
No,
this is just like we're getting together over coffee, really, because neither of us know what we're talking about sometimes. It's like, were you talking to me? Sorry, didn't realise.
We get there in the end, don't we?
Exactly. Yeah.
Awesome. Well, thanks so much for today. Cool. Is there anything else you wanted to add onto that before we sign off?
No, just look, everyone, stay happy, stay cheerful. I know that it's a tough time, but, we will climb through it, and all the cliche stuff that everyone's saying. But, we all think about everyone and what they're going through all the time, and just let's hope it ends as soon as it ends. And hopefully I'll talk to you all soon. Cool.
Here.
Here.
Awesome.
Here, there.
Well, thanks so much. Thanks so much to everyone who's joined in and sent little waves and little messages along the way. Lots of messages popping out with great information, Malcolm. So
I just wonder if anyone's got any questions. That was the last thing. If anyone has got a question they could type in. I don't know whether we've got time.
We can have a couple of minutes now, and if someone comes up with something later, you can always contact us at NZARH, or even contact Malcolm directly at Salon Business Coach. He's on Instagram, as you can see, as well as Facebook. And
I'm on all the social medias. Understanding very little of them, but I'm on them all.
You're doing great. We sorted out today.
We got there in the end.
Yeah. Awesome. All right. Well,
no questions coming through.
Pop up in just the last little bit. Lots of people saying it's a great tip. So
cool.
That's really cool. I'm gonna start looking at that too. Awesome.
You've got a target. I've set you a task. $50 a week.
I have to report back in 3 months and 6 months and 5 months.
Yes, please. And I'll take 10% of what you say. No, I'm joking.
Awesome. Cool. Thanks so much, Malcolm. And thanks everyone for joining us today, and we'll be back again tomorrow. We've got a chat with the awesome Sarah Lee from Wabi Sabi Salon about saving your roots for your hairdresser. So that's tomorrow at 3 o'clock.
And that'll be fun too, because Sarah's a lovely girl.
She said hello and that you're a great investment.
Yep. Oh, that's nice of her.
Awesome.
Cool. All right. Great. Thanks, Pip.
Thanks, Malcolm. Thanks, everyone.
See you later. Bye-bye.
See ya. Bye.